Hello and welcome back to another update on the Ukraine war. I'm here with the latest news, starting out in the Vuhledar front, where the Russians have started an offensive against these three villages of Prechystivka, Zlotaniva, and Velika Novoselivka. And we can see from this that they are attempting to gain control over the highway between Pavlivka and Velika Novosilka. And with this, they'll be able to gain control and have the upper hand when it comes to advancing on any of these areas to the north, especially Novoukrainka, that they can use as a springboard to further invade this open field north of Vuhledar. Other than that, in the Donetsk front, the fighting is heavily ongoing in Marinka, as the Russians are now attacking on three different fronts: the central front, the northern front, and the southern front. Where in the southern area they are attempting to invade this area here to the southwest of Marinka. As we can see, it is a separate area in the city where there's warehouses as well as other industrial buildings, which means that this is a very significant part of Marinka. The capture of it would also allow the Russians to outflank Marinka and attack from the southwest rather than going through the residential areas to the central area. They're also continuing their attacks to the north of Marinka as they try to completely cut off the northern part from the central part, and finally they're continuing their attacks into the residential area in the center. The Russians are continuing their attacks against Novomikhailivka, and further north the fighting is ongoing in the area of Vodian, Pervomayske, and Nevelske. As for the Bakhmut front, the fighting is ongoing in the direction of Klishchivka and Opytne, as the Russians are continuing their attacks in these residential areas, and they are also continuing their attacks in the residential area of Bakhmut. In here, there are reports from both sides that the fighting is ongoing in the residential area, which indicates further that the previous reports of the Ukrainians pushing the Russians out of the residential areas are false, as both sides agree on the fact that they are fighting within the residential area. Further north in the area of Pitorodne and northeast of Bakhmut, the Russians are continuing their attacks in both directions as they attempt to attack Pitorodne and cut off any reinforcements in the direction of Pitorodne. In the Vuhledar front, the Russians are continuing their attacks in the direction of Vuhledar from Yakovlivka, as well as in the direction of Bakhmutske, where they are continuing their attempts at completely capturing the rest of Bakhmutske. And in the northern part of Yakovlivka, they're continuously attacking in the direction of Vesele as well as Rostolivka. Further north in the direction of Verkhno-Kamyanske, the Russians are also continuing their attacks here. And although I don't really report on it, there's a lot of shelling going on throughout the whole front line. Both sides are shelling across the Kherson area as well as the Zaporizhia area. However, in the areas where the Russians are conducting their offensives, they have a much larger advantage when it comes to artillery, as they're launching attacks on all of the Ukrainian positions, while the Ukrainians have a hard time returning the fire. In the Luhansk front, the fighting around the Plushenka-Chernobyivka area is ongoing, as the Russians are now attempting a different axis of attack, where they are attacking southwards from Plushenka towards the attacking Ukrainians in the area of Chernobyivka. And further north in the direction of Tabaivka, the Russian forces are continuing their attacks, attempting to gain further control over the highway. And that's all for this update. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.